But take a look at this. There was a private interview that Isaiah Bond did with ESPN this morning as to when you're watching this video, and it was very interesting to say the least. He gave us some insight on as to why he's leaving Alabama. Your star wide receiver, he has just left, and he's went to one of your rivals. I'm going to call him a rival because I think that's what they are now. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we got some breaking news that has just hit my desk, and it's not good for Alabama fans. You might want to turn away. This is a situation we've been covering extremely closely on the channel within the past 48 hours. And this is also one of the biggest nightmares if you are an Alabama fan and really you're involved with the program whatsoever. We're not doing no intro, none of that. I don't got time to waste. You don't got time to waste either. We're getting straight into it. And more than likely, unless something crazy happens to me, this won't be the last time you see me or hear my voice today because we got a lot of stuff to go over. We're getting updates by the hour. As we all know, or you should know, Alabama star wide receiver Isaiah Bond, he enters the transfer portal not too long ago. Devastating news. I've already talked all about that. You know how I feel about it. What did I say about it? I wish he would have at least waited until he hired a new coach, talked to him, and then do it, but it is what it is. And last night we talked all about this, and we confirmed that Caleb Downs, he was at the team meeting when Kalen DeBoer was there. However, on the contrary, it was also confirmed by Isaiah Bond himself on his private Snapchat story that he was on an official visit to Texas. I'll show you the picture right here. Not too sure how this got leaked out. Somebody within his private story, they're a snitch and they're a rat. We'll leave it at that. He obviously did not want the public to see this. He didn't post this to the public. It was on a private story. It is a picture of him sitting in a Lamborghini here, and at the very bottom of the screen you can see Austin, Texas. For those of you that don't know, and I need to explain this as well, Lamborghini has a sponsorship with Texas football players. This isn't anything new, guys. They sponsored Bijan Robinson when he was there. In other terms, if you're a really good football player, go to Texas, you might get a Lamborghini sponsorship. You might be driving a Lambo at no cost to you whatsoever. Pretty good deal, and that's definitely something Alabama can't work out because, unless I'm highly misinformed, they do not have a Lamborghini dealership. We got the Dodge Challengers, the Scat Packs, the Trackhawks, whatever you like, but no Lamborghinis, unfortunately. And also to go on top of that, it has been made evidently clear that Texas, outside of the Lamborghini thing, they will be paying him to come there. That's common knowledge at this point. Texas has made it clear the past couple of years they are dipping into their bag in the NIL department. Which, yet again, let me throw this in there. Some people's going to take that as, oh, Matt, you're salty. This guy's like, I'm not salty whatsoever. I'm explaining the situation to you. Me saying that Texas is paying players, it's not an insult, okay? It's the reality. And it don't bother me one way or another. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I think if somebody is willing to pay you for your talent, your art, your skill set, whatever it is in this life, you are entitled to that money. Or here's what I really need to say. You should be entitled to that money because the past 40 years in the NCAA hasn't always been the case. Anyways, continuing along here, Alabama, they hire Kalen DeBoer, and I've stated there was still somewhat a very slight chance that Isaiah Bond might come back just due to the fact DeBoer is an offensive-minded head coach. We saw what he did last year at Polk and Rome Odunze. He put him in a great position to succeed. So if you were clinging on to any hope that Isaiah Bond would withdraw his name from the portal, that was the hope right there. But unfortunately, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news to all my Alabama fans, your star wide receiver, he has just left, and he's went to one of your rivals. I'm going to call him a rival because I think that's what they are now. There's been a lot of rumors and speculation, but it is officially official. Isaiah Bond is going to Texas. And why I'm saying this is one of Alabama's rivals is because, remember, Texas, they're not in the Big 12 no more. That's over. They're in the SEC. And you got some people bringing up, oh, this is tampering. This is the definition of tampering. They're paying this guy, blah, 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 blah. I get it. But take a look at this. There was a private interview that Isaiah Bond did with ESPN this morning as to when you're watching this video, and it was very interesting to say the least. He gave us some insight on as to why he's leaving Alabama. Here's what he stated, quote unquote, just like the business world, you make the best decision for your company. My company right now is my draft stock. I feel like I'm putting myself in position to increase that and have better draft stock. But take a look at this. He wound up stating this right here was the ultimatum factor on why he decided to leave. Apparently it wasn't for money, wasn't for the Lamborghini, none of that. He stated it was solely due to Nick Saban retiring, quote unquote, 100%. Take a look at this. Bond said the new Alabama coach, Kalen DeBoer, reached out and that he didn't get back to him. That is crazy. Kalen DeBoer reached out to Isaiah Bond and Isaiah Bond didn't even reply. Continuing along here, Bond said that Sarkisian recruited him hard to Texas out of high school, and they regained that connection quickly this weekend. He said Sarkisian, who is Texas' offensive play caller, is one of the best offensive minds in college football, and which I agree with totally. Quote unquote, I like the whole package that comes with it. Great quarterback, they have a great offensive line. I felt like it was a great spot for me to come, and I also agree. Isaiah Bond was asked about catching balls from Quinn Ewers and if that was an attraction, and here's what he had to say, quote unquote. 100%. He's a great big-time pocket passer quarterback. He's a top 10 pick in the draft next year. I'm also going to be a top pick. It's going to be a good duo. Hey man, I like the confidence, and I don't think he's wrong. And last but not least, here's the final thing I'm going to show you. He stated, it was really a business decision. I'm not taking any hatred in my heart. Nothing personal. I'm going to do what's best for me and my family. And I'm going to clap it up to Isaiah Bond. And first things first, before we go any farther, I just want to say this. Thank you so much for all the great memories. It was a heck of a season. Isaiah Bond had a really good year. I know the numbers don't necessarily reflect that, but you got to take into account the play style of the Alabama offense. He was really good for us. Great high character guy, and can't say no good things about him. And you know I got to bring this up. The catch in the Iron Bowl. Legendary, to say the least. Legendary. He has arguably one of, if not the biggest and greatest catches in Iron Bowl history. And for that alone, similar to Ja'Cory Brooks, who also transferred recently, he'll be an Iron Bowl legend in my book. I will never forget Ja'Cory Brooks and Isaiah Bond. No way, no matter what happens from here on out. I'm just very appreciative that he even decided to come to Alabama in the first place, and also appreciate his hard work. And I want to throw that in there and give it some recognition, because I don't think your casual fan or even just people in general understand how much work these guys put in on a regular daily basis. Playing in the games, that's not the hard work. That's the fun part. The off season, that's the hard stuff. And as far as it goes for everything he said right here, everything I showed you, I don't think he could have put it any better. And you're going to have some people that don't get it, and they're going to say, oh my gosh, he's a traitor. He didn't even hear out our new head coach and blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes. You're always going to have haters. But to all my Alabama fans out there listening, watching this video, and I know it's a lot of Alabama fans, just please respect his decision. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not even saying you got to like it, but respect it and move on. Don't throw any shade or hate towards his way. None of that. He was great for us, and I'll throw this in here. He said it himself. It was strictly a business decision. It's not personal. It's not that he doesn't love Alabama. This is a business decision, okay? It's cutthroat sometimes. This doesn't mean that he doesn't like Alabama football. It doesn't mean he didn't like the culture, the tradition. None of that. It's about business, and I get it. And I think most people will get it, but also think a lot of people won't. And I think you're more than right if you want to sit up here and say, well, Matt, he should have stuck it out. We got a great offensive-minded head coach coming in. I see where you're coming from. I can hear that out. But I want you to also think about this and look at it from his perspective. He is doing what he thinks is best for himself. Not what Matt Be Great thinks. Not what Billy Bob 42 thinks on Twitter. No. He's doing what he thinks is best for him. And if Mr. Isaiah Bond here thinks this is the best decision, I'm wishing him best of luck, my man. I can't fault him for it, and let's be real here. Yeah, more than likely, you'll put up way better numbers with Quinn Ewers as a quarterback than Jalen Milroe. That's not me throwing shade and shots at Jalen Milroe. No. Jalen Milroe is one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. It's more so of talking about from a wide receiver standpoint. Quinn Ewers, he's going to throw for around 300, 400 yards per game. But with Milroe, he may only throw for 200, but he's also going to run for 150. You see what I'm saying? Right now, at least, and this is from what we know, assuming if Jalen Milroe is a quarterback, it's not a wide receiver friendly offense. You're not going to have too many, if any. We didn't even have one this year, wide receivers with 1,000 receiving yards. And the bottom line is, let's just say, theoretically speaking, for say this video, if Isaiah Bond next year goes to Texas and has, let's say, 1,300 receiving yards and 11 touchdowns, yeah, that's going to put him high on the draft boards. Whereas on the contrary, let's say he would have stayed at Alabama and only has 820 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns, he'd fall a little lower. That does matter. While I'm thinking about it, Steve Sarkisian is the main reason why he also left. He even stated himself, Steve Sarkisian recruited him heavily out of high school, and they have a good relationship. And me personally, if I was a quarterback, if I was a running back, if I was a wide receiver, playing for Steve Sarkisian, that'd be on my bucket list. I love me some Sarknado, man, and I've always called him the Sarknado dating back to when he was at Alabama. There's many more things I could say. We'll end it off there. Let me know your thoughts on all this down below. But